How you doing? Now, haven't done one of these in a while. But I just want to talk about recent events of the floods in Queensland. And I mean, it's terrible really that, something so disastrous could happen in such a place as Queensland when it gets a lot of rainfall anyway, and this is pretty bad. I feel sorry for all the people that lost loved ones and stuff as well. I mean, it's no one ever wishes that on your worst enemy. I mean, it's just, it touched a lot of people, I know. But there are some, what I can see is nothing more than hurtful politics really going on at the moment. Using a disaster to gain popularity, which is really clearly what's going on. I mean, haven't they got any spine? You know, when they consider that all these people have got nothing now, and the Prime Minister has to go down there and act like this good Samaritan that she is, but in the same token, stabbing the Australian people in the back and telling them that she can't be bothered paying for it, so we have to. I mean, all the millions and billions of dollars that they've got to spend on our war effort and to spend on education and spend on everything else, wasting money left, right and centre. When now there's a natural disaster in one of their constituencies, being the federal government, governing over everyone, so they think. So now they can't put their hands in their pockets and help out them guys up in Queensland. $5 billion or something I've heard, but that's only the start. Where's it going to end? They've asked us now, this bloody flood levy. And I mean, look, I'm all for donating money and helping them out. But if we have to be subjected to this, a permanent flood tax, I mean, come on, that's like saying, oh, we better have a permanent winter tax. The inevitability is going to be that there is going to be another flood somewhere else in Australia at some point. As long as you build dams in local areas where previously the water could wash away in the rivers and then into the sea, because you dam these places off, of course the flood water is going to build up. It stands to reason. There's nowhere for it to go. All the floodplains have lost because you built a dam right in the middle of them. I mean, when you dam any river off to stop the actual natural flow of water, then what's going to happen? Obviously, you're going to get a build-up of water in the places where there shouldn't be water. So, I mean, all this stuff was well known well before it actually hit Queensland. Of course it was. Because how then would they have known anything about it, really? They said that on the news like a couple of days or maybe a week before, there was a possibility that there could be heavy torrential rain coming towards Queensland. Well, months before they knew, but failed to tell anyone really, because they thought, oh yeah, because the person that actually said it was a man called Piers Corbyn. You know, he told the world, not just Australia, but he told the world that there is 19 years apart when we look back in history of all the floods, and it always falls on the full moon or the lunar eclipse. Always. So, you know, when you think that the lunar cycles and the jet streams, it's got all to do with that. It's everything to do with that. Nothing to do with global warming. And you can look this up in science books, and it's all the fact. I'm not just telling you anything I can't back up. And if you'd like me to give you some literature, just reply or just just write me a note or something on my face, so on my YouTube, because I can email you anything you like, because all this information is freely available for anyone to look up. Anyone, if you choose to look. I mean, there's plenty of things out there about all this weather modification and geoengineering, and everyone says, oh, that's just Star Wars. Well, in their eyes, it is Star Wars, because they got all the technology, they can do all this stuff. I don't think they can't. Of course they can. And when, look at Bill Gates, all the millions and billions of dollars he's got, trying to stick mosquitoes in the air that forcibly inoculate everyone with their vaccines because they've been genetically engineered to carry it. You know, and it's mental. And especially with weather modification, when you got machines like HARP in America that pumps out, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 1 million kilowatts or something, pumps out a pulse of this electricity into the sky, and it actually changes like weather patterns and cloud systems. This thing is so powerful, it puts all these eons or ions into the sky, and they're like molecules of electrodes, you know, and it just goes crazy. They don't know what it does exactly. They have no idea what it's going to cause. They don't know if it's going to cause a huge cyclone to wipe out Indonesia, or a big fucking, excuse my French, sorry, a big tidal wave to wash away, you know, anyone. They don't know that. They don't know if they're causing all this weather through the modifications that they're doing. Well, I think they might do. I think they do know it, but I don't know that for sure, but I think they do. But I'm sure that if we all just sat down and thought about this and looked at everything that's happening today, something is going on. Something's going on. I don't care what I think I know. All I know is that something is going on, and it's not good. All these political movements now are all moving towards what has been called, and probably from the day it was discovered, they're all pointing towards the New World Order. The New World Order as a global control system. It may not feel like that when it happens. It may all still be the same. But certain things will have changed. Like, in fact, you'll be walking around with either an ID bracelet or a chip in your arm or something like this, that there'll be hardly any police on the streets. There'll be cameras everywhere. There'll be retina scans everywhere. There'll be these barcode things you have to walk through everywhere, so they can just keep track of you. You won't need police, because if you do anything wrong, they'll just turn your chip off. You can't spend any money, you can't go anywhere, you can't fly, you can't get a job, you can't do anything. And they just leave you out in the street and you can die. Because without this chip, that means then you're worthless. You haven't got anything to offer. So I know you go on tangents with this stuff because you can't help it, because it's all interlinked. It's all interlinked, interfaced to serve the end game. The end game being total control under the New World Order. The private offshore interests that control the world, basically, that own all the money. China's up there with them, but China, I think, would rather work alone than work with these people, because they are such a superpower now. People don't like to admit it, but they are. They have taken over the world under your very nose. People thinking it was a good idea to send it over there because you can get cheap labour and you'll get it imports and exports for cheap. But now they're finding that now it's not so cheap, because China have cottoned on to the game. Now they're saying, hang on, we don't need you. We own you. We own you. You don't own it. It's not the other way around. This is what they're saying now. We own you. So if we tell you what to do, you will do it. So don't think for 1 minute that Julia Gillard hasn't been told that. Because this country's been owned by China for a long, long time. Come on. Everything is made in China that comes to Australia now. Everything. I don't care what it is. You know, the only two things that Australians hold on to that think it's Australian is Ford and Holden. That's it. Because that's why they rave about it so much. It's because that's all they've got left. But it's an American company. What America have done is just set up a business here. So we haven't got anything. We used to have a lot of imports of, or exports of raw materials, but now all the raw materials go to China. It's ridiculous. So when you think everything you can actually think of, that you think of every day, you think of every minute of the day, of every thought, of every action, of every reaction, it's all designed to make you like that. It's all designed to do it. Your society is being moulded a certain way, so we act a certain way. You know, the moulding of social groups was talked about way back in the 20s and 30s and stuff like that. You know, and then you hear the social re-education, and like they called it the education revolution in Australia. Well, it's the re-education revolution. It's re-educating to think that the government is there to save them. The government is the boss. The government is the man. You know, everyone wants to work for the government because it's such a great job. I mean, really, do you really want to be a politician? Yeah. But anyway, Julia Gillard and this debacle, I call it, as this money grab now to collectivise Australia, get us all thinking the same. So when it comes down to the nitty gritty of it all, it's not so bad. But really, you really need to see it. Because if you don't see it, it's going to be too late, and then you're going to moan later on and say, I wish I knew before it happened. You really will. I mean, we all think that we're doing pretty here in Australia, but I can tell you, it takes a while for things to work their way over here. But once they do, a lot of people are going to have a very big shock. I think they will.